Did she
First time
say?
I was shown one that they said was mine, I was 15.
Bruh.
And
UFO stories are not just about aliens, okay? They are about who controls the story of reality. Because if we're gonna keep it real, these folks been on about aliens, okay? Since day one. Since day one. I'll be posting my own UFO alien story in another video, but for today we are going to be looking at some well-known UFO stories as well as some newer ones, hopefully, that we haven't heard before. Okay, all right, y'all, let's see. Because why do they look like that? They don't gotta look like that, do they? Imagine one of them coming up to you trying to abduct you, bruh. All right, my bad.
What's the significance of that?
Say, people throughout Africa believe that the original human beings either came from Orion or the gods for whom read the Chitauli and many other alien nasties actually come from that constellation. We call it the constellation of Umhambi, the one who travels very, very far away. And we call this constellation also the constellation of Matsieng, the giant who was sent by God
like Mars,
to this earth to
Matsieng.
create the first human beings. Matsieng was accompanied by a
that's a
male
person.
lion with a very black mane, and he was also accompanied by his dog. And he traveled throughout the world. He first created the first race of human beings, and they were so stupid in appearance that he buried them alive in a cave, and then he created the next race of human beings, which was clever, and we are the descendants of that race.
first time I was shown one that they said was mine, I was 15. And they brought me into this room. It was dimly lighted except for this little container. And I was kind of urged to go look at it.
Hold on.
And it was a little small
I gotta hear that again.
that they said was mine.
Did she
First
say?
time I was shown one that they said was mine, I was 15. And
That's what I thought she
they
said.
brought me into this room. It was dimly lighted except for this little container. And I was kind of urged to go look at it. And it was a little small being with the head seemed bigger than the body, out of proportion. And she had large eyes, but they weren't all black. They had,
Baby, the mixture of an alien and a human being.
yeah, that they led me to believe it was mine, and I didn't want to believe it. And, I didn't want anything to do with it. And they kept urging me to pick it up. And I resisted, but for some reason I did anyway. And it was like the instant I held it, I knew it was mine. There was some feeling or something of just holding it that I felt suddenly attached to it. And I was no longer afraid of it. I was protective and amazed because I was only 15 and to feel it was mine.
Imagine being 15 years old and finding out you're a teen mom. That's
It was
crazy.
important for some reason that they wanted me to hold it.
When they want you to get skin-to-skin contact, boo. Wow.
I didn't want to give it back up once I did. I was really upset when they took it back from me. But
Wow.
it looked a little more human. Had a little more of a nose and a mouth. Kind of squeaked, made a sound.
In the case of Peter Thiel, personally, and J.D. Vance, who he has engineered as his political front and his tool, it's a very dangerous situation. I have intelligence that this man, Peter Thiel, runs an organization called the Collins Elite, which consists of religious fanatics, both evangelicals and trad caths, that belong to different military intelligence organizations as well as the CIA. In other words, Defense Intelligence Agency, Naval Intelligence, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and the CIA. And I found this out through the CIA because they were very upset that they've been infiltrated and manipulated by these people. And
Some of them,
this
I'm
group,
sure
the
some
Collins
of them
Elite,
knew.
is behind all this discourse you see today from Tucker Carlson,
I'm sure some
Anna
of them
Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, Burleson, Representative Burleson, about how the UFOs are really manifestations of demons, okay? And that if there's anything positive out there, it's angels, and that everything negative is being done by demons, right back into the medieval worldview. And the man who's behind that is Peter Thiel. And he wants J.D. Vance to become president so that the so-called disclosure will take the form of, oh, dear Lord, there are demons here. We need to rededicate this country to Christianity and fortify ourselves because there's no actual defense against these entities. And the best we can do is to turn every home into a church and, pray these things away and out of the closets, and out from under the beds and whatever. This is the shit they want to do to us, okay? And so
That's crazy.
I see that as really, one of my principal adversaries and one of the greatest threats on the horizon, immediate horizon, that this kind of return of religious zealotry and evangelical and Orthodox fanaticism has to be completely defeated. And we need to figure out how to do that, most effectively and in very short order. But indispensable to that is an understanding of the fundamental thinkers and the way in which philosophy from its fountainhead has been radically irreligious and an expression of a Promethean spirit that's ultimately about the human potential.
Hold on. The only thing with that is that them folks been knew about aliens, like ancient aliens on TV. I think it's on the History Channel, whatever. How long that shit been on air? How long that shit been on air? Literally throughout history, like multiple cultures, like they been knew about aliens. So yeah, I think they packaged it. We'll get into more of my thoughts and stuff in other videos, but come on now. Critical thinking skills, people. Yeah. Do you think they're demons though? Let me know.
When our people were given language, they found to their horror that they had lost much of their mental powers. They had paid a terrible price. But the Chitauri were now the masters of human beings. They made them, the human beings, to go into holes in the ground and to mine metal, gold, copper, tin, all kinds of metal the Chitauri forced our people to mine. And The people
That
were
sounds a
very
lot like
unhappy
the Gigi people
because
and the
they
Anunnaki.
they couldn't cope with the new sexual differences which were there now between men and women. And then from amongst the Chitauri came a very good female Chitauri. Her name was Mai Nzarantwari Samahongo. Mai Nzarantwari Samahongo was the senior wife of the terrible chief of the Chitauri, Umbaba Gorontwari Samahongo. She was sorry for human beings, this great reptile lady. She said to the poor people, "Ow, you are unhappy." And the people said, "Yes, great one. We go into the holes every day, we dig the stones and we bring it to the gods, but we are not happy." And Mai Nzarantwari scratched her scaly chin and began to think and to think. She was terribly ugly. Her eyes were awful, like lights in the darkness. But she had mercy in her heart, and she taught the men and the women how to make love. And she said, "Look, we divided you into males and females. Now this action is going to bring you together." But it did not, because anyone who receives a gift from the Ntwari, the children of the python, is always in trouble. What happened was that when one guy slept with his wife, he didn't find her much, so he went to steal another guy's wife, and there was a big remorse, as we say in African, starting. So men started stealing each other's wives and each other's girlfriends, and women started stealing each other's husbands, and there was a big nonsense in the land. And King Umbaba, the terrible lord of the Ntwari, the reptile people, said, "Look what you've done, you stupid old woman. Now these people, they are making such a noise. Listen to all that screaming in the bush. They are busy making love there, and our gold is not being dug, and you are responsible for this." Nzarantwari thought and thought and thought and thought, and then she got a plan, and she said, "I will make them stop. When they make love to each other, the female is going to get pregnant. And when she is pregnant, the male is going to leave her alone. And that noise in the bush will not be so disturbing to you, my lord." And Umbaba said, "You had better. There is no production here." And so all the women in the world was pregnant, and Umbaba was furious with his wife. And so it went on and on until one day Nzarantwari activated a black hero called Mweru. And Mweru challenged the great chief of the serpent people to a fight. And he cut off the royal penis of the king of the snake people. And that caused a big war. Mweru ran away. But Umbaba, the terrible chief of the people, caught him and arrested him and brought him to his village. And there, the great chief Gorontwari Umbaba said, "Look, you cut off my thing, and I have replaced it with one made of gold, and I can't make love to my wife anymore. You think too much, you wretched little human being." Now, Umbaba had a terrible nail in one of his hands, a claw. And with this claw, he drove the claw into poor Mweru's nostril, making a terrible hole into his brain. And he started drinking Mweru's brain and then he threw away the corpse. To this day, we believe that the people, the Chitauri people, they eat human brains. And strangely enough, scientists have found skulls where the human brain has been removed and eaten by someone or something.
Well, hearing you speak here, so many things come to mind. First of all, you're saying that telepathy was the key form of communication.
Yeah.
All the Chittahooly, the reptilians can.
Yes.
And I guess it's like a muscle. When you use it, it gets more sensitive and more powerful. So the more you use your telepathy, the more powerful your mind got. And then when language came, it almost brought us into this three-dimensional world and disconnected us from that mind power that we had before.
Yes.
And it's also interesting that the story that you talk about, the language being given, and then the different languages being given. And of course, that turns up in the Old Testament, in the Bible. It turns up in stories all over the world about the fact that we were divided by language, so we couldn't communicate. And as someone who publishes books, I know today how difficult it is to communicate through books when you've got endless different languages. So
That's crazy.
Hi, my name is Marilyn and I am RH-O. I do have low heart rate. I do have my eyesight literally bothers me because of the sun. I also have an extra vertebrae, which I had a car accident not so long ago, and they did x-ray, and they told me that I had an extra vertebrae also. I also have been abducted by alien when I was 19 years old. This was in 1992 when this happened. And then it came back again on 1997 when I had my children. And it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to come and believe me, but my family know and my children know, they're witnesses to this. And it happened also while I was with one of my daughters and with my mom up in D-Land, in Florida D-Land. And they've been coming to me since I was 4 years old. And they adopted me when I was 19 on 1992. And they took me to Mars. I saw Mars. I saw a planet that was made out of ice, and I saw Saturn. A lot of people is not gonna believe, but I know what happened to me was real, and this is something that I've been carrying with me for so long. And also my children knows the experience that I've been going through, also because they've been going through the same experience as me as well. And I just wanted to let people know, and I wanted to share my story with a lot of people, and to let people know that they're not alone on this. I never know that I couldn't find the words in how to come out with it, but I'm glad that I could come out with it now and let people know what happened to me is real. And this is an experience that I've been going through this throughout my whole life, and I need somebody to come and also help me through this process. I need to find out even more about what's going on when I was abducted. There's things that I don't remember, but there's things that I do remember about what happened. Thank you so much.
Girl, I need to know more.
For your time and getting on the video, and just I need some help, and I need somebody to come and be able to let me know, like hypnosis or something, to find out what else been going on. Please hit me up on my comment, on doctor or somebody that knows somebody that could come and help me out.
She need to
Please.
get hypnotized like
Thank you
the
so
people
much.
in the Fourth Kind movie. That would be crazy. I would like to interview like alien abductees and stuff.
This is Vrillin, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. For many years you have seen lights in the skies. We speak to you in peace and wisdom, as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world, so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disaster that threatens your world and the beings on the worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in the Great Awakening as the planet passes into the age of Aquarius. The new age can be a time of great peace and evolution for your race, but only if your rulers are made aware of the evil forces that can overshadow their judgments, for your chance may not come again. All of your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race in which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of evolution if you show yourselves worthy to do this. You have but a short time to learn to live together in peace and goodwill. Small groups all over the planet are learning to do this and exist to pass on the light of dawning of the new age to you all. You are free to accept or reject their teachings. Hear now the voice of Roland, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. Be aware also that there are many false prophets and guides that present. Be aware also that there are many false prophets and guides at the present moment operating on your world. They suck the energy from you and will put it to evil ends and give you worthless dross in return. Your inner divine self will protect you from this. You must learn to be sensitive to the voice within that tell you the truth and what is confusion, chaos, and untruth. Learn to listen to the voice of truth which is within you, and you will lead yourself onto the path of evolution. This is our message to our dear friends. We have watched you growing for many years, as you too have watched our lights in the skies. You now know that we are here, and that there are more beings on and around your Earth than your scientists admit. We are deeply concerned about you and your path towards the light, and we would do all we can to help you. Have no fear. Seek only to know yourselves and live in harmony with the ways of your planet Earth. We here at the Ashtar Galactic Command thank you for your attention. We are now leaving the planes of your existence. May you be blessed by the supreme love and truth of the cosmos.
Y'all think that's real? I gotta research that a little bit more, okay? Also, I do agree with a few of the things that he was saying. I would have to research that a little bit more. But yeah, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for kicking it. And do you think that aliens are demons? Do you think they are us from the future, the P-45s, P-57s, or whatever? What do you think aliens are? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, and if you want to catch part 2 of this, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, comment, all the things, okay? It's going to help your algorithm, and it's going to help me out too. All right, love you. Bye.